Hey, can you see me? Hello. Okay, I think I'm rolling. Good evening and God bless you. As always, it's a pleasure to speak with you. I'm not sure who I'm doing this for. There was a lady last week who got in touch with my sister who wanted to have comments about, hi Kerry, who wanted to have comments about fathers. Hi Sherry, hello. Wanted to have comments about fathers. I don't know why they've asked me to speak on it. Last week was really powerful. Had over 1,500 hits on last week's subject. Hi Tony, you okay? And the subject last week was about Muslims. Now, I'm not here to push any agenda. I'm just here. Hi John, hi Deb. I'm just here to basically help spread the word and spread love. And today we're going to talk about fathers. There's some real good fathers out there, some wonderful fathers, wonderful men who do a fantastic job. Some obviously fathers are split from the mother, but they still do a wonderful job. Hi Rob, hi James, guys, do a wonderful job in nurturing, protecting, guiding, educating their children. So after last week's subject about Muslims, a young girl who's struggling with life got hold of my sister and asked my sister if I would talk about the subject of fathers. As I've said to you, I'm not an expert in it, and welcome anybody on who's a father who may disagree or agree to open up this debate. So, as I said to you, there's some brilliant fathers out there who fight tooth and nail just for the right to see their child, which is really bad. I know some men who have really struggled in getting the opportunity to see their child. They've got to go through CSA, solicitors, former partners, messing them about. And sometimes the families as well can also make their life feel difficult. But if you have a child, I honestly don't know what could stop me from wanting to see my child. And if that means I've got to persevere for 6 months, a year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, whatever it is, then I believe that is your God-given right to do so. It's your child. And well, listen, 3 days a week I see my son. Brilliant. I'm not sure whether that's enough. Cheers, how are you? Mark, how are you? Rob, you might say it's enough for 3 days a week, and I think that's great. I really do. But some don't get to see them at all. Some because, like I said, CSA gets involved. Solicitors, when solicitors get involved, it becomes really nasty, and sometimes the partner makes it really difficult as well. Thanks Jace, says I actually talk sense. You haven't heard the rest of this yet. So you know, I just want to say, like, there's some great fathers out there who are doing a really good job. I want to speak to some of the ladies as well, because I think that the ladies as well need to understand that some terrific mothers out there, and not all of you would do this, but you know, I'd encourage you to really think about using your child as a pawn in some sort of game. It's not a pawn. This is a child's life, and there will be after effects. There will be effects between the child and the father, in my opinion, and there will also be effects on the child towards you. Don't think your child's daft, because a child isn't daft. A child as young as 6 months can watch you do certain activities, and they will try and copy, imitate, and understand the activities that you are going to perform. So it's really important that women as well, and I'd encourage you not to use your children as part of a pawn in this game. I think the problem is when parents view their children as possessions and use them as pawns. Bang on, Kerry. That's exactly what I'm trying to say, is that, you know, there's always two sides to every story, but this is an issue between you and the father, and the girlfriend, the wife, whoever it may be. But I really do feel, hi Lorraine, I really do feel that it's important that we understand that whatever you do and say and how you treat that child will have long-term effects, whether you like it or not. So your short-term gain might be long-term pain for somebody else, and that long-term pain will usually be the child who's denied of seeing a loved one just because you've got issues with that person. That's your issue, not the child's issue. Don't punish the child for loving somebody you chose and it just didn't work out. So that would be something that I would encourage. We spoke last week deeply about how loving Muslims, loving others around you would be the answer towards a lot of the terrorist activities. A lot of us were saying how we you know, say every Muslim's a terrorist. Well, they're not. There's a certain group that, Evening Lindsay, there's a certain group, thank you Adam, there's a certain group of people, and I hate using the name because I don't warrant the name being used, they're running around causing a whole heap of controversy. That's the group. But what we need to do is love the Muslims who are being associated with that group, because the group are trying to cause fractions in and amongst the world. But the key to that is to love everyone, but even more so at this moment in time, love those who are being persecuted from their own people, from people in Syria and other places in the Middle East, but also being persecuted by people in Europe and around the world, like the USA. So it's important that we show love, and I believe that this particular issue will show that love is part of the answer. This is for all men. I don't care what colour, creed you are. It's quite interesting actually. When I mentioned that we were going to talk about boys and girls and fatherless children, somebody said to me, you know, we must talk about the system. We must talk about how a lot of black men, this wasn't about any system or any colour. This was real talk about you as an individual, regardless of how you feel treated, being able to make sure that nothing comes between you and your child. If you conduct yourself in a certain manner and way, then nothing, I don't care what it is, nothing should stop you from seeing your child. So what is a father? I think, and this is important, that we understand what a father is. If you are to father somebody, then the first thing you must understand is what is a father. And a lot of what I say, and I'm going to say this, a lot of what I say is biblical. Because that's my philosophy, that's my eye lens of how the world should be and behave and conduct yourself. Now I know not everybody out there is a Christian. I know not everybody out there has a love and a passion for Christ like I do. But there's some real biblical principles that are clear and evident, that no matter who you are, that if you follow them, then it will help you through life. And my lens and my opinion has to line up with that. or else I would be untrue to me. So a father, in my opinion, he guides and protects, he nourishes, nurtures, advises, educates, and shows love. That's a father's role, to guide. You go in trouble, you know, baby birds. You go in trouble, a baby lion. You go in trouble, animals with the young ones at danger. You'll see there'll be a coming together from the parents, particularly the male, about trying to scare you away. It was interesting, the other day I watched a cat, and the cat was near a group of birds' nest, and the bird literally came down at the cat and was trying to peck away at the cat. That's what a parent's role is, to protect, to guide, to guide away from troubles, to nourish, to nurture, to educate, and to love. Oh, he was the one who will lose out. Okay, there's conversations going on amongst conversations, but I'll come back to that. So I would ask, where do your sons and daughters get their philosophy on life from? There's so much music out there, TV, social media, family and friends. Right now, if you look at the music, what's being played, the music is an absolute disgrace. There's certain songs I don't want to listen to. I can't let my children listen to. I wouldn't let my niece listen to. I have 3 boys, because they're very derogatory towards women, in a particular way. They let young men see women as trophies, as it's bad. Now, if you start to watch that and start to draw that in, then that might hinder your way of thinking as how you're supposed to treat a woman. The words in the songs, they ain't good. I heard a young girl today singing a song, and it's in disbelief. A 3-year-old is singing the song, probably doesn't know and aware of what the words mean. But if you was to go to school, the way that children are educated is to repeat things so that it actually sinks in, and eventually they get a way of thinking. So if these children are being drilled with these sort of music, and it's not just music, go and look at some of the games that they play on the PlayStations. The PlayStation games are unbelievable. Some of the graphic details. There's one about, I think you've got to beat people up and rob people to gain points, and you drive and you do your next drive-by shooting. How is that a game? How is an 8, 9, 10-year-old supposed to, see you later, Jason, how is a 8, 9, 10-year-old supposed to look at that and learn from that? What is the idea and philosophy of a game like that? It's bad. The social media again is another one. There's so much stuff out there, the internet. There's so much stuff out there which can start to form a young person's way of thinking. And as if you, as a parent, Grand Theft Auto, thank you, Sonia. Sarah, if you as a parent ain't on it, then who is forming the philosophy that your children actually see life through? Is it games? Is it music? There's certain music that is played for you to get into the mood to do certain things. Music has a severe influence on us as human beings. Example, you want to get jiggy with somebody on a Saturday night, and you know what I'm talking about. You're drawing for a little Luther Vandross, a little lovey-dovey somebody, because you want to get in the mood. You want to go to a gymnasium, you're going to play a totally different sort of music to get you ready in that mood. So when I hear certain musics, I'm asking myself, what kind of mood are you trying to get people in? And I don't just mean the kind of music that a lot of women listen to. There's some young boys listen to some kind of grime music, which, oh my word, glorifying guns, glorifying treating women in a certain way. And this is where the parenting is crucial. Because if you as a parent, particularly a man, cannot sit your child down, and you're not around to sit your child down and show them that ABC is not right, this is not the way we do things and conduct life, then you are leaving your child at the whim of somebody else to educate, to nurture, to guide, and show them that this is the way of life. So when you then see your children at an elder age getting into problems, you have to wonder, where did that come from? So it's important. You guys have just said sex, drugs, violence. There's so much of it on the TV. The other day I put Channel 4 on about 10 o'clock. I seen standing there some men and women stark naked around 10 o'clock before the, what they call it, watershed or whatever it's called. 9, 10 o'clock, women and men are standing there with bits and bobs dangling around on TV. That ain't right. It just is not right. I'm coming to the punchline, so you got to bear with me here. We all love a team environment. So I played in teams, and there's a sense of belonging. Men particularly love to feel part of something. They want to belong. They want to be in a group. That's why football team games are so special. And even for the fan who wants to feel part of that, this is what the football industry, which is now the most financial rewarding sport in the world, is gravitating to. One ball, but because of a team environment, and everybody, men and women, want to feel part of it, it is now the leading sport. It's a sense of belonging. So when you leave the home, when you decide to walk out, and that's if, I understand there's people that relationships didn't work. I understand that. I understand for whatever reason somebody's left. But when you choose without real thought process about your children and totally blank the child, when you choose to do that, the team environment suffers, because now the team is short. It's losing somebody what's the captain, somebody which is the leader. So then a child then looks for that leadership from elsewhere. That's now where it becomes dangerous and you get into gangs. Kerry says, do you think it's appropriate to teach healthy relationships as young as 10? 100%. I have a 12-year-old and I speak to my 12-year-old boy about relationships. I also speak to him about how it should be. I also educate him about sex. Now, this doesn't mean he's going to turn out exactly the ideal man. Of course not. But what it does make me rest assured is that at 18, 19, when he steps out into that world, I can rest my head on my pillow knowing that I've tried and done everything possible to keep my children, my niece, my nephews, in a place where they understand fundamentally, not my opinion, but what God would have them, how God would have them to live their life. And this isn't nothing radical or anything. This is just about being good human beings who love a individual, who eventually get married to that individual and eventually will have children. It's as simple as that. And I am coming to that. God, in fact, I'll mention it now. God did try to instill marriage, for better, for worse, for richer, for poorest, in sickness and health, to love and to cherish till death do us part. It also says what who God blessed, no man curse. There was things that are ordained by God, but humankind, mankind, the values of of marriage now are slowly slipping away. If you look at the older generation, your grandma and granddads, great, my grandma and granddad have been together for 50 odd years. A majority of the older generation have been together for 50 odd years. And I'll tell you another thing, majority of the older generation have had one partner. Hello? One partner. My grandparents still set tables and sit around tables, and it's lovely to see that sort of influence in my life. But we've moved away from marriage. Marriage is no longer deemed, the thing. Courting is another thing. There's so many people now who are having sex left, right, and centre. And listen, I'm not gonna sit here and say, oh yeah, I was somebody that. No, of course I fell into that trap. But life has educated me to a point where I understand the way that I should have behaved and conducted myself. And now, because I understand that, it's imperative that I pass that wisdom that I have learned onto my children and onto others. If you know better, do better. And I don't want people's lives to be wrecked because of mistakes that they've made by not choosing and finding out about the right person. It's okay. So my grandma talks about courting, and she was saying back in the day there were people that would there were men who would ask to take my grandma out, and it would be nothing sexual. Sex wasn't part of it. What they wanted to find out was A, did they have a bond? B, did they like the same things? B, do they want the same things in the future? Do they get on? Are they friends? Do they like sport? Do they like music? Do they like dancing? All these things were played out before anything else happened. And that might be a period of time. But what that made the woman do, the woman would find out if the man loved the woman for her, not loving the woman for what she's got downstairs or upstairs or in behind. The woman knew, because the man took time out to be courteous, open doors, pull chairs, to drop them off, walk them to the door, make sure that they got home safely, left without asking for anything. Hi, Yvette. And the man just made sure that the woman was courted for a period of time. Then a man had to go to the parents to ask for that woman's hand in marriage. That's gone. But what that prevented was so many instances of what we see now, which is women who 7 or 8 men later find out that the person who they've going out with is not the right person for them. Men also find out 5 or 6 partners down the line, not the right person, they move on. There's so many issues around that. Sex is sacred, by the way. Sex is something that was given to your marriage, your partner, the partner that you decide to marry. But if you look at the way sex is portrayed now in the world, you can't go anywhere. Posters, internet, cartoons, TV, adverts, film, music, it is everywhere. Is there an agenda being pushed? You better believe there's an agenda being pushed. But what are you going to do as a parent to protect your child from this? Oh my word, it's deep. So whilst we're talking about fathers, it's also, and I'm going to come to the men, and I've said that some women have to take their share of the blame for fatherless kids. Sometimes a man's got 5, 6 kids, yet you're still laying down with the man. Do you really feel that after 5, 6 kids with different women, that this man is the man that you're going to calm down that you're going to be married to. Sometimes you have to really look as a woman. And by the way, I'm going to say this. As a woman, your body's like a diamond. It's beautifully created. But you need to love you enough to show that a man cannot get this diamond, because the diamonds are deeply dug in the earth. For a man to dig a diamond out of the earth, you've got to dig deep. They are covered. They are hidden. They are not just there for anybody to pluck. Some people won't do the work hard enough to go and find diamonds. Sometimes you might need some real industrial equipment to go and find diamonds, because they dwell deep into the earth. They're covered. So if you think anything of your body and you love you, then why not make a man dig deep? Why don't you make a man wait? Why don't you make a man get his industrial equipment and start taking you out, dropping you off here, and after a period of time, after you've seen how he's treated you, how he takes you out, then that might be the person that you turn around and you go, this is the person that really loves me for me, not for anything else, and I want to go to the next step. Thank you, Lewis. Lewis has said, this is the realest stuff ever. It's real. It's got to be real. We're in a period of time now where there's no trashy talk. You can't talk foolishness. You've got to be real. And you know what? Some people ain't going to like it. They will not like it. But who the cap fits, make him wear it. It's real talk. So you have to vet the man. You have to make sure that the man... Okay, we ended up, and I found out I was pregnant. I have kept a secret from him to protect him from her. I have not once badmouthed him. God bless you. I'm not going to say you said that, but I'll speak to you. See, you have to vet the man and make sure. And listen, we all make mistakes. But this is not about you now. This is about what can you do for your children, given the life that you've lived. This is about now us fathers, mothers, educating our children from our mistakes. Have I made mistakes? Yes. Of course I made mistakes. And by the way, let me just say this. My mother was the best. She was brilliant. My mother did everything for me. Loved my mum to the maximum. But my mum wasn't my dad. I'm a boy. There's certain things a dad needs to say to his son. There's certain things a dad needs to say to his daughter. There's certain things that only when your dad says it, does it dwell deep inside of you. Sex, you think I, as a young boy, would feel comfortable talking to my mum about sex? No. Certain things as a man that you go through as a young child, as you're growing up with hormones and the way you feel. No. So therefore, it is imperative for the man to play some part. And that might be 1 day a week. That might be 2 days a week. That might be you living there, which would be the best scenario. But I understand, and we all understand, relationships. But you must play some part in your child's life. If you want to protect, guide, nurture, and educate, and stop certain things, values, and beliefs and philosophies being put on your child, you must be there to hold their hand. Children, fathers, mothers, at the end of the day, children lose out. This is so true. Without a dad, some girls will seek for some girls will seek for male attention and the sense of belonging, like I said earlier. Now, this is real, and I'm going to be real. Right now, there's a gang industry which is all over the UK. Some are hardcore gangs, some are a little bit softer, but there's initiation ceremonies. Let me say it again. There is initiation ceremonies for boys who have to do certain things, whether that's beat 2-3 people up, whether that's cut knife somebody, whether that's steal this. There is initiation ceremonies for boys, but there's also initiation ceremonies for girls. Do I need to go further? In fact, yes, I do, because I think you need to be told that there's initiation ceremonies where girls have to sleep with 4, 5, 6, 7 men all in one night for them to feel part of something, because the part what they were supposed to have is no longer there. So then some girls, not all, some girls, not all girls from broken families, some girls, and I will reiterate, some girls will feel the urge to do certain things. Now, will a man and will a father and a mother stop that from happening? There's no guarantees. But what I would guarantee is that you've got more chance of preventing that if you're already got your team secure. And that doesn't mean, as I said, a living father. That might be a father who's not in a relationship with the parent, but is playing an active part in the young person, particularly at this moment in time, girl's life. And it's the same with the boys. The boys will obviously look for advice, life skills, experience. They want love, they want laughter. Everybody needs love. Everybody wants to feel happy, not neglected. But some will feel like they've been let down. Some will be angry. And this is a big thing with boys. And again, this is to the fathers. Father needs to show love. And this is what I mentioned before when I talk about love. For you to show love, you must love yourself first and foremost. What I mean by showing love is that men have always been portrayed as this hard road. Yeah, gotta be tough, yeah. I want to be tough. I'm not allowed to show any sign of weakness or love. So therefore, when a father does that and shows he's tough and he's really hard, yeah, and don't want to show any love to his child, or the mother, his wife, or maybe girlfriend, then when the child who's grown up sees that, from a woman's aspect, a girl's aspect, they feel potentially that I'm not supposed to show or receive any love from a man. But also on the other aspect, and this is where it's deep for me as a young man, a man then grows up not wanting to show love to his mum because he's supposed to be hard, because that's what my dad's been showing him. But also then, how does he love the person who then he meets? Because he finds it hard to, because he's always been shown that he needs to be this tough guy. And then it impacts again. Then that tough guy, yeah, your son, who you've been showing how hard it is, then has children. Then the cycle goes round again, because all of a sudden, now the children are looking at you as a man and your ways and your means, because of the philosophies of the world you see, is that a man should be tough. So then your children show that hardness, that resilience. They go outside with stone faces. People look at him, what's wrong with him? What are you looking at? That causes so much more damage. But if we as men embrace the fact that it's not weak to show love, it's manly to show love. To tell your children that you love them, to tell your child that you love them, to put your arm around your child and say, I'm so proud of you and the way you've grown up into a wonderful man, to educate your child. Then if you show that love and you're also love with your wife, your partner, then don't you believe your child's got a better chance of going through life, because he's seen the positivity and the ways that you as a father have helped create an environment which is around love. He's seen it from you to him as a son or as a daughter, but then also from you to his mother or her mother, which then helps the child understand the ways that we should treat women with love and respect, not the way that I am seeing on the TVs, not the way that I am hearing certain music talk about, and you know the tunes that I'm talking about, not the way that I see these games being portrayed. Yep, Lee, bang on. Tell my kids I love them every day. I never got them from parents. And that's a great point, Lee. It's a great point. Because you didn't get it, it doesn't mean now you blame others. I hear people say, I'm blaming the society, I'm blaming the system. No, because you have the strength as an individual to say, no, it stops here. Whatever's happened to me, whatever experience I've had, it stops here. But what I will not let, because I know better, is my children suffer because of the experience of me never being told that I was loved. So what you're now going to tell your children you weren't being loved, is that right? No. You have to stop, park the car and say, I know better. It stops here. But I'm going to make damn sure my children, my niece, my nephew, whoever it is, will not fall same victim as what I fell for. The biggest fear for children at the minute, the biggest worry about what might happen to your children is coming from the parents. Most fathers sadly are opting for the easy way out and not prepared to fulfill their life role. How you cannot care for young ones is beyond me. It is beyond me. I don't think you realise the effects and chances of your child failing increases. And again, I'm saying there's some terrific fathers out there who want to father, nurture their children. Some may not be able to because of certain circumstances, and I understand that. But those that have a choice and you choose not to, how can you not know where your child is for a year, 2, 3, 4, 5 years? How can you not know your child's got clothes and being? How do you lie down? And you know what, guys? And this is where the powers. It's amazing. There's a person on here what's just said, I'm at fault with this myself, Michael. I definitely don't tell my kids enough sometimes, even though they are my world. And I would definitely say it's from when I was a child growing up. That is power, because from when you can be honest, admit it to yourself, you can now do something about it. And this is why these broadcasters are so brilliant. Because if one person can change their life and the way they are with their children because of stuff like this, I could have 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 people. If one person gets this and starts hugging their child and kissing their child and telling their child and taking an interest in their child and going back to find their child, educating, nurturing, protecting their child, if one person grabs this, that could change communities, that can change the world. It really can. It's a scary world, but we have to try and make the difference by educating our very own, because that will benefit our communities, that will benefit the people nearest and dearest to us. It really is. For me, love, it has to be the answer. To show love, to work harder in relationships for the goodness of the child. Somebody said to me about the dad dying, and death, as you know, is awful. Death is one of the worst things. But actually, the child who lost a father was fathered by the dad. Now, his legacy will live on because he's passed away, but the man alive has taken so much from the person that passed away. He now can turn around to his children and grandchildren and educate them in a way that was being benefited from his dad. But when you turn away, when you show complete rejection, that's worse than death, because the child has nothing to cling to. The child's empty. But if the child's empty, who's fulfilling him? And listen, as a man, I can tell you now, as a man, I can tell you now, and there are some wonderful uncles and grandfathers and cousins and men in the world that you can actually step in and fill the gap. Of course there is. But it still doesn't fit like your father. And if you are empty, I'd question who fills you up. What, again, is inputting into that child? And this is where you've got to really work hard to protect that relationship between your children. I just don't understand. We as men have to show love to our children. We can't just walk away. And, you know, somebody said to me, you can blame it on society. I understand. And okay, let's get real now with the men. This subject here is aimed at a lot of men. A lot of black men fall prior to this. And let me just squash this point, because I know somebody's going to try and push this in. Somebody said to me, well, it was a system. I understand what happened years ago in slavery, centuries ago. For those that don't know, the black man was the stud in slaves. So what he was called to do would be to mate with the women who were slaves, because the slave owner wanted to protect his wealth. So sometimes what they would do is say to the men, I want you to sleep with X amount of women, so I, as a slave master, can start to make my own wealth. Obviously, this woman would now have a child. The child would be raised, and that child might work on the plantation or be sold to create more wealth for the slave master. Fact. Whether we like it or not, that's a fact. Years later, centuries later, men are still behaving in that dirty way. Now, you can't keep blaming what happened 200 years ago for your ways and means. You can't do that. As I said before, there comes a time when you have to say, stop. Now, certain people will say about the system. The system cannot get between me and my child if I conduct myself in the right and proper way. Fact. Nobody's getting between me and my child. That is my child. And I'm going to conduct myself in a way that is appropriate, that is healthy, and that is a way that nurtures my children to the best of their ability. Yet, do not provoke your children to anger, but bring them up in the discipline and instruction of the Lord. Well said, Michael. Brilliant. So we must show love. We must show love and care to your partner, and make sure that your children see how you treat your partner, how you treat your parent, and how you treat yourself. You've got to love yourself. And don't fall traps to the way that men are supposed to portray themselves, you know, in a hard way. I'm tough, I'm rock hard, yeah. But then your children are going to come the same way and not show love and grow to feel angry. And that's what a lot of young men at the minute are. They're angry because of lack of role models. The crime, what I'm hearing in Nottingham, has gone to another level. And it's because of lack of male role models, lack of leadership, lack of a man being able to go into a place and instantly command respect because he's a man with authority. Speak into your child's life. Speak into it in a positive way. Let them know that they will be something, that you want the best for them. Don't let other people speak into it. If you keep telling the child, he's hopeless, he's hopeless, he's hopeless, he's hopeless, he's this, you're just like your dad, you're just like your dad, you're just like your dad, and you're speaking into his life without realizing, then guess what? When he comes just like his dad, because you've been saying it for the last 15 years, then why are you surprised? So why don't you speak positivity into the child's life? That you'll be somebody, or she will be somebody. Why don't you be positive and speak pure positive and love into that person's life? If you want a flower to grow, feed it water. Don't feed it no bleach or disinfectant, it will kill it. But if you nurture it, if you feed it, watch that flower grow into something that you've spoken into for the last 10, 15 years. And I'm going to say this this scripture. It's from Proverbs 4, chapter 20 to 23. My son, attend to my words, incline thy ear unto my sayings. Let them not depart from thine eyes. Keep them in the midst of thine heart, for they are the life unto those that find them, and health to all their flesh. This is the big part here. Keep thy heart with all diligence. In some Bible it says guard, protect your heart with all diligence, for out of it are the issues of life. Guard your heart. As a woman, guard your heart. Do not let any Tom, Dick and Harry take your heart. Think of yourself as a diamond. You are precious. Out of you comes life. But don't let anybody, and I mean anybody, lie down with you who you feel is not a father destined to be with. So it's important that we really sit down and work out who's the best person for my children. Who's the best person, who's the best father, who's the best mother for my children. Now, if life is dealt you certain cards and it's too late, it's never too late if you feel it's too late. Because you've got wisdom, you've got knowledge that you can impart on the next generation, your next children, grandchildren, nieces and nephews, whoever it may be, to make sure that they didn't fall into the same traps as possibly you and I fell into. And that's where it becomes really, really important. I'm going to finish with this. This is really powerful. I love this story. So about 3 years ago, my son, my eldest son, is 12 years old, and he went to school. It's a true story, this is. And they were doing a day where they had to choose their heroes, and everybody was choosing who's your favourite person in the world, and you had to come and bring a picture. So people were choosing, Lionel Messi, Justin Timberlake. I don't even know many of the artists because I don't watch music anymore. Listen to music, should I say? Rihanna. All different people. Some people were saying, this politician. And my son asked me for a picture of me. And I said to him, why do you need a picture? And he didn't answer. He just said, I need a picture, Dad. Have you got a picture? So I gave him a picture and he went to school. About 3 or 4 days later, he came back with a montage of pictures. And I asked him, I said, son, what's this you put in front of me? What is it? And he told me, and he said, we had to go to school, Dad, and we had to pick a hero, somebody who's, inspires and motivates somebody who we look up to. And he chose me. Even now it sends hairs on the back of my neck. He chose me. I don't think there's no amounts of monies, there's nothing in the world, or no place in the world where I'd rather be than at that moment in time when my son looked at me and said, "Dad, you are my hero." The pride, it just surpassed everything I could ever imagine. But what it taught me was that you're doing something right in life, and no words are needed from anybody else. There's no justification needed from anybody else. But from him to say that to me brought a grown man and humbled me to a point where I think I'm on the right line. But I know why I'm on the right line. It's because who I choose to serve, and most importantly, who I dedicate my life to. And there's some people what I know don't believe and won't believe, but there's certain basic Bible principles that if you adhere your life to, it will hold you and your family in a better way, better place. And that's always happened to me, and will continue to happen to me. So in rounding up, I hope that this has been helpful. I hope that it's been provoking, it's been thoughtful. I hope that one person may be challenged with their thoughts and the way of living. I hope that we as men will start to show more love and feel more comfortable showing love to our children and also to our partners, which will enable others to see the love of how we should treat our women. I hope kids, whichever children may be out there, thanks Gary, said it's helpful. Thank you, Gary. Children, I know it's late, but I hope you might see this tomorrow. If you've not got a dad in your life, then it's important that you get somebody who's a role model for you. That might be your uncle, might be your granddad, might be a close family friend, who is somebody that you can trust, though, not anybody. No. The world doesn't allow for that. But somebody that you can trust, who can, may not be able to fulfill your father's role, but somebody that you can go for guidance and ask certain questions that your young brain and your young mind won't be able to cope with at the moment, because there's a lot of pitfalls out there, as we mentioned, and it's important that we as men choose to stand up, guide, protect, nurture, educate, but most importantly, love. Show love to these young children. And that's all I've got to say on the matter. So I hope you've enjoyed it. I'm sorry that the live cut out, but I hope you've enjoyed it. I've hoped it's been a blessing. I've hoped it's helped you, and God bless you all, and look forward to whatever topic somebody may ask me to delve in next week. Jerry, late as always, eh? Good night, God bless you. See you next week. Peace. Yeah, let me just show you. There's me. There's my partner. Where are we? It's a picture we had drawn. Yeah. Good night. God bless you.